My name is Miikka Kumpulainen and I'm the curator of the cultural environment at the Museum of Central Finland. So I was asked to tell you some experiences about the use of the evaluation framework. These experiences, which I'm going to tell you about, are not only my own thoughts, but something we have discussed in our museum in past years or in this year. But first, some quick information and background about our museum so that you can get some sort of perspective what kind of background I'm talking about. So we are a regional museum with almost 100 years of experience in the museum world. And nowadays we are region central of cultural heritage. We are a mid-sized museum with 20 people as museum professionals working in our museum. And we are situated in the middle of Finland at the city of Jyväskylä, quite the central of Finland. So let's get started. So I'm going to present our experiences through three themes. The first is work community perspective. And the second is work development perspective. And the third one is perception of common goals perspective. So let's start with the first one. What we found out from work community perspective was that firstly, the evaluation what we made was quite good, actually. It had clear categories and everyone in our museum found at least some topics which were close to one's interest. And that was quite good because everybody gets something to say. All the categories were cross-sectional and that forced people to think, what is my role in work community and how my work affects to others. We had small 6 to 8 people groups when we were discussing about these topics. Small group size encourages people to talk and listen. Also, this small size with employee facilitator created some, you can call it the circle of trust, in which even the quiet ones had courage to speak. And discussion groups are not the places to show one's power. They are for discussion. A very important aspect is that all the people attending to the meeting were able to look our museum from the outside, to see ourselves as objective as possible at the moment. Sometimes this succeeded and sometimes not so well. But the main point is that this creates the opportunity to look one's work without expectations or some sort of roles. In best moments, we were equal partners looking at who we are and where we are going to. This is a tool for future work, a manual, not a tool for negative critique. Then the work development perspective. This year's evaluation, what we made, was not the first time we stopped and looked our work. We have done this kind of evaluation once before, about 4 years ago. It is clear, at least to us, that the museum will benefit from evaluation when there is some changes to be expected or when these changes are over and the normal work has already begun. These are the times when museum must stop and look ahead, whether museum is going to the right direction or not. When the museum does this kind of evaluation in time of some changes, whether the changes arise from the inside of the museum or from the need of change because the surrounding society changes, the evaluation helps to direct for example, long-term strategies and guide what short-term actions must be done and when they need to be done. Also, it is very beneficial to save all discussions, not only the ones what you write down to the evaluation sheet, all. They will be handy afterwards when you are doing next evaluation. With these saved discussions, it is very easy to see what is changed during the years and what still remains, for example, to be developed. And it is utmost important that these discussions are saved without names. They must be anonymous. The third, the perception of a common goal. So, how to use this kind of evaluation as some kind of power tool or catalyst or whatever you want to call to reach the common goal and to see it. With this kind of evaluation document, it is easier to show, for example, outside what work is done and how our work affects to the society. It is easier to see and present the effectiveness of museum activities. Actually, this is some kind of to add some flesh around the statistical bones, what we are always asked. With evaluation and the analysis of the work, which it requires always, museum can more easily highlight long-term priorities and short-term actions, for example, towards the financier. And if the evaluation topics are cross-sectional, like we had, the brainstorming will create links, interfaces, and common issues between museum work and workers. And that way, it will make museum as a collective more stronger, in best cases anyway. So these were the three perspectives what I was thinking that you should know. And the last slide. So how to use the self-evaluation. This is some kind of, we made a short list of best practices when you are doing this self-evaluation. The first one, take time. This takes time. It's not one session. It's 2, 3, 4 sessions. Divide the whole into the parts. They cannot be very small or tiny parts, but they have to be some sort of mid-size clusters to get those intersections. The second one is be true to yourself. Don't lie to yourself and look at the present moment from the outside, from a distance, without preconceptions. Look at as it is, not what you want to be. Implement those themes in small groups of 6 to 8 people to encourage the quiet ones and shy ones to talk about. They have very important opinions where you are going to. The fourth, record, save, take notes, whatever, from the conversation without names. And the final, the fifth, and this is actually what we thought is the most important lesson what you can get here. Agree on how to start to move things forward. You must do something, not just discuss and let it be, and prioritize. Look what you have to do first, second, third. And as a bonus, this can be the opportunity of empowerment as a work community. So, thank you. This was short presentation about our experiences.
Thank you, Miikka. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting presentation and very valuable for us in this for the workshops, for example, to come later in the afternoon.
You can have those slides afterwards.
Yes. And now there's a question to you from Helena Kuhlefeld. Could you give an example of the cross-sectoral themes that you used as a starting points for the discussion?
For example, the small example for the use of social media, how you use between the collections and cultural environments and museum exhibitions, how we should do it so that we look outside as a whole museum, not divided parts. It is very common that as museum professionals, we only see our work, what we are doing right now. For example, I'm working in cultural environments, so I work mainly on that point of view. But during these discussions, it was almost enlightenment every time to see what your work, how it affects to the other museum works. And another themes, if I remember right, was, for example, education. What you can look, how everyone is one sort of museum teacher. What is your role as to the community? What you have to know, how you teach, how you tell people about our cultural heritage or art or anything.